Okay, so I've done my first 2 strips of peyote, and I've done them obviously to the measurement of my wrist, and leaving a little space obviously for your clasping, which is going to take about 1 inch of length. So, and I've left a long tail of thread on each end. On one of them I've actually left the needle and all the thread, because there's a heck of a lot of thread left on this one, so I can use this thread to start working my next stage, which is going to be the weaving in and out to join each side with the seed beads and these lovely natural stones that I've got. So if you do have plenty of thread left on, maybe just leave it and get yourself another needle, which is what I've done, so I don't have to re-thread when I'm coming to the next stage. And now I'm going to do the last one. So if you're familiar with peyote stitch already, all you need to do is do 3 strips of peyote. That's the very beginning stage. So do 1 of your bronze, 1 in your cream, and 1 in your blue, either or whichever colours. You might want to do it in totally different colours, so choose what colours you want to do and do your 3 strips. And then once we've done the 3 strips, then we start joining it together, and then we do our picots and our edges and whatnot, and then we do our clasping. So if you're familiar with peyote stitch, you can go ahead, make your 3 strips to measure your wrist. Make sure they're both exactly the same length, because obviously they need to be matching up. And go ahead and meet me back when you've got all 3 strips done. If you've not done peyote stitch and you're not familiar, I'll start you off on this 3rd strip, and then yeah, the instructions are the same for you. Carry on with this one and do your 3 strips, and then we'll be ready to move on to the next stage. So first I'm going to pick up a stop bead, which can be absolutely any bead you like, a little pearl, a seed bead, or just something a different colour from what you're using, so you can distinguish your stop bead from your actual beading. You want a reasonably long tail, if nothing else, so you can always thread in your tail at the end, but we might need it for joining and things later on. So yes, four beads across for the 2 edge pieces, 6 for the middle. So this is going to be 4 beads across. So we're going to pick up 1, 2, 3, 4 of our Delicas. And obviously you can use, you might use Toho, you might use Under the Brand. I use all my Yuki, so these are my Yuki Delicas, as I said. Right, so you've got your 4 beads. You need to pick up 1 of your beads. Miss this first one, don't go through that. Just go up through the 2nd bead, like so. Hope you can all see this. I have to pinch it a little bit so it doesn't go loose, but right, so that sits there, you see. And then pick up another bead, and then we're going to miss this one and go through the top one. Like so. Don't go through your stop bead, that's there just to stop your beads sliding off. And there we go, that's how the top should sit. Right, then I'll flip my work around. Just try and get that to sit straight. Hang on, give it a little fiddle so it sits correctly. The beginning bit's always the worst. It's really fiddly because you got to actually get that pattern going. So there we go, it's going to sit, should look like that. Yeah, that's what it should look like. So, oops, so fiddly because it's so tiny, and trying to keep it in frame is so hard. Right, so yeah, you've got your little piece. You're going to pick up 1 of your Delicas, and then you're only going through these beads that are protruding out this way. You're not going to go through the ones that are in the middle. So you can see quite clearly that you've got sticky out ones and then ones that are not sticking out, i.e. these two. So you're going to go up the first sticky out bead, like so. Pick up another one. Through your next sticky out bead. Like so. And you've got that. And you're going to flip your work over. Up that way, so you stop beads now up the top. And pick up one bead. Through the sticky out bit. That one. Pick up one more. And through your next sticky out bead. Obviously, if you were doing a normal bracelet, you would have a lot more beads across your width, and you'd just keep going like that, you know, and building. So this is the one with the 6, so that's a bit wider, obviously. You can see how it's, you know, developing that pattern though, can't you? So let's put that out of the way. Oh, now tangle this one up. So yeah, and that is basically all there is to it. And each time, flip your work. So, pick up a bead, up through these sticky out ones. And they do quite clearly stick out. Try and keep your tension nice and tight, because that's important as well. Because if it's too baggy, your beads aren't going to sit where they're meant to be, and you might not be able to differentiate between which are your sticky out beads and not, because they'll all be sort of merging in a way they're not meant to. So through the next one. Give it a tug. And there you see. And we turn it over again. Pick up that way. Pick up a bead. Up through your first sticky out one. This is a great one to do if you haven't done peyote stitch before, because it's not too long and wide, so you can get the gist. And they do work up incredibly quick because they're only a few beads wide, so they start to grow quite quickly. Now you can really see the pattern growing now, I think, can't you? Like a little brick wall. And then you flip it over. So it's coming up here. We're going to go the next sticky out bead here. And you'll always have, you know, a row that sits in line with where your thread's coming out, and you'll always have a sticky out row, no matter how many beads across. So even if there's 10 across, you'd have, you know, one's jutting out and one's sitting flush to where your thread's coming out, which is this line. So you're always going in these ones, the sticky out ones. So up, like so. And take your second one and up like so. And literally, that's all there is to it. Flip it over. Pick up a bead. Again, you can see, can't you, my thread here. And 2 sticky out ones. So that's all you're doing. Up through the ones that protrude. And just simply keep going like that. That's all there is to it. I think I've used a good old wingspan, so I probably won't need to change thread. But what I will do is I might just tie off the thread at some point and then cast on a new thread, just so I can show you guys how to finish off a thread when you're running out, and how to, or I might do it on one of these ones that's only got, yeah, I might do it on this one actually. So if you're concerned that you might run out of thread and you don't know how to add thread, and how to finish off the thread that you're using before you add your thread and all that sort of thing, don't panic. What I'll do is I'll work up a little bit of this length, and then I'll show you how to add your threads and stuff. So I'm going to go away and work on this. If you're confident in adding thread when you run out and tying your ends off, then yeah, that's all you got to do. Go ahead, make your 3 strips to your desired length, and yeah, obviously they're going to have the beads in between, and I'm going to weave them all together, and it's going to look amazing. I hope it's going to look amazing. Hope it's amazing. Yeah, so you go ahead, do your 3 strips, and then meet me back when you've done that, and I will show you how to weave them together, put them together, and then do the edging and the clasping. But if you're not so confident with your peyote stitch and you would like to see how to add thread as you go if you run out, and anything else that we might need along the way, I will come back when I get a bit further along and show you how to join in your end and how to add a new thread. So keep going with your peyote stitch exactly like this, picking up 1, and the only difference with the middle strip is obviously you're going to pick up 6 beads your first time instead of 4, like we did here. We've done 4. When you do the middle strip, remember to pick up 6. It's only 4 on the 2 edge strips. So the only difference is you'll be adding 3 beads each time, and you'll have 3 sticky out bits to add to. And this one, we're just adding 2 for each row. That's why it's building so quickly, because you're literally adding 2 beads. Oops, sugar. There goes all my little natural stones. I caught my thread on my bead triangle. Right, flip it over. I'll do one more with you. Up here, through that first protruding bead, sticky out bead, whatever you want to call it. And then one more of your beads, and up through that last sticky out one here. So, and then flip your work, and the same again. So, and if sometimes it looks a bit, you can't quite see if they're sticking out properly, it's every other bead. So you're not going to go back in the bead you're coming out of, are you? It's going to be the next bead up, which is sticking out. So that's always as well another way to know where you are, is every other bead is what you're joining. So you're joining one every other. And again here, even if you couldn't, you know, if it was a bit blurred, well, you're coming out here, miss a bead, go through a bead. So if it was, you were going further on with a piece of peyote, it'd be miss one, go through one, miss one, go through one, miss one, go through one, and that's all it is. It really is one of the most simple stitches, and believe it or not, I was afraid of peyote stitch when I first started beading. It's one of the last stitches I learned, and I realised it was one of the easiest, and that I should have done it ages ago, because you can make loads of amazing things with peyote stitch. So yeah, carry on doing that, and if you found the first bit a bit tricky, just go back, watch it again. You know, it's not that hard, you'll get it. And you know, you will have to work on your tension, try and keep it nice and tight, or you're going to have baggy gaps, and it's going to, you know, not be nice and neat. So you want it as neat, you know, nice and neat as you can, like these ones. Yeah, so yeah, go ahead, do strips, and I'll meet you back when you've finished your strips, or if you want to check back, and we'll do halfway through this, we'll, like I say, add and take away some thread. So yeah, carry on, and I'll meet you back here shortly. Okay, so we're almost at the end here. So, I mean, I have got enough thread left here, but let's just, for argument's sake, say I didn't have enough. I'm going to go ahead and finish this thread off and add a new thread in, so that if you don't know how to do that, and if you're not confident working with long lengths of thread and you want to use shorter pieces so you don't get tangled up, it's nice to know how to add your thread. And if you do know how to add thread, you can just skip ahead to the next stage in the video. Let's zoom in a bit. Right, so let's just say this thread's not enough for me to finish my project. So what I will do is I will put my thread up through this next, sorry, not that next bead. I'm going to put my thread back from here through here. That one bead. Well, I'm actually going to do both, but what you've actually got to do is follow your beaded path. So you've got to follow where you originally went. So it would go this way, this way, this way, this way, this way, this. Do you see what I mean? So you're just going to follow your path back the way you came. Normally I wouldn't go through the edges and back down because I wouldn't want the extra thread showing, but these are all going to be threaded together. These are going to be beads between each layer, so it really doesn't matter if I go through the edges. But if you were doing a bigger bracelet without a picot on the edge, and you can see where your thread is if you look really closely, you can see that thread coming down from here to that bead in there. So you want to follow your beaded path, follow your thread. So I'm going to go up this one. Up this one. Out of this one. And then I'm going to go back down through here because this one's a bit loose anyway, so that'll help tighten this piece up. Down through there. Just going to turn my work round because I like to work this way up. Right. And some people like to just weave through the work, keep weaving for quite a distance and then cut it off without a knot. But because this is only a few beads wide, I really don't think that would be a good idea. If it was, you know, had this sort of width, by the time you've threaded that through so many times, it's never coming out and it would probably be quite tight. But this is obviously a lot looser, being only 4 beads wide, so I am going to put some knots in my thread bridges in here. See, get it under the thread between the beads, and then just put a little knot in there, and then pop through your next bead on your beaded path. So we'll be going up at an angle like that, look. Then back down. Oh, it's gone through 2, which is fine because that's at an angle. And then I'm going to tie one more knot on this thread bridge here. Excuse the state of my craggly hands, I've been gardening. Getting out some veg for this year. I've planted pumpkins, beans, tomatoes, peppers, aubergines, various different species of pumpkin, lots of different pumpkins, and courgettes, doing potatoes. Right, now that's far enough away from the knot, see? I'm going to cut that off. Or, if your thread zapper's not run out of batteries, you can use your thread zapper. I've got a feeling my battery's dead, but we'll try. Yeah, it's not zapping. Oh, hang on. No, I think I need a new battery on that, never mind. Worth a go. There we go, snip that off. Now we're free ranging here. So we need another piece of thread. I'm only going to get a tiny piece. I might use this piece here actually. No, I won't. I'll get a fresh piece. Where is my thread? Oh, it's behind me. Right, and my pliers. Sorry about this, guys. I'm going to get another piece of thread. Nip that off. So one piece of thread. And I'm actually using £6 fire line. So I'm going to give that a little nip with my nippers. So it goes through my needle, especially with a size 12. My goodness, they're hard to thread. Let's see if it will be good for me on camera. There we go, straight through. Okay, right. So now we have our new piece of thread. We're going to do the same thing in reverse. So I'm going to slide my needle in here, and then if I can do it at an angle down that second one, adjacent to it. Right, so I'm going to pull that through. I'm going to leave a little tail to keep hold of so it doesn't slip through, and then get into this thread bridge here, and I'm pinching this tail like between my fingers there, nice and tight. Up through that loop and do a little knot there, and then down through this bead, oh, and out through the adjacent bead. And then I'm going to go back up, the bead beside the one I'm coming out of, and up that next one there. See, I'm jumping across and up one, across and up. Across and up. And you don't have to go all the way to the edge, but I'm going to because I've got a loose bit here. Can you see, with a bit of thread showing? It's a bit loosey-goosey there. So I'm going to go up. And I'm even going to do a knot on the edge here, I think. Because like I said, the edges of this bracelet are not going to show. They're going to be woven together on the edges. Put that knot inside. And that's going to tighten that up a little bit, I think. Yeah, nice. So then I'm going to go down through here. Oops, sorry. Down through here. Do another one in that thread bridge. Try and only catch the one thread. That's it. We're in. Pull down through the loop. Make your little knot. And then proceed on down through your next bead. Just like so. Keep going down. And then make sure you come out where you need to be starting. Just like so. So, and then this one, I'll cut off here because it's far away from its knot. And if you've got a bit poking out, you can just melt that with your thread zapper or a lighter even, but I don't want to do it with a lighter in case I burn my other threads. And then since I'm coming out here, and I'll pick up one of my beads. Oh, I should have done that wrong, haven't I? What have I done there? Go back through. Let's see, what have I done? I need to be coming out the other side, don't I? Don't I? That's what I am. Right, so we're not coming through that side. We need to be coming through the other side. I'm going to go up through those three at an angle. Oh, it does have to be this side, actually. No, it doesn't. Up through there. It does have to be. Yes, I have to be coming out down here. Sorry about that, guys. You might come across the same thing yourself and get confused. So I'm going to go back up here. Yeah. Back up here. Jump across and be coming out down the bottom of that bead. Sorry about that. You don't want to be coming out the top. You want to be coming out the bottom of that bead. I don't know, I'm getting confused. It's getting late here. It's getting dark. Right, so now that you're coming out of there, now you're going to add your beads. So I'm sitting here already, so I'm going to add a little shiny one. Yeah, I've put through a few shiny ones through this to just give it a tiny bit of sparkle, and then carry on as you would have done before until we reach the right length, which will be the same as the others. So I hope that's helpful in showing you how to add a new piece of thread to your work if you run out, because it does happen. You might think you've got enough and then you realise it's, you know, you just haven't got enough to finish off. So it's always handy to know how to add your new thread in. And yeah, it's always worth doing, especially if it's a skinny piece like this and you've not got that depth to work your thread in. It is worth doing a couple of nice knots, because you do not want all your hard work coming undone. So I usually do 3 or 4 knots just to be absolutely 100% sure. I think we might be to length now. Let's have a look. Let's zoom out a minute so you can see. Oops, I'm zooming in. Right, that should be, so maybe one more row. Oh, maybe a couple more rows actually. Yeah, a couple more. So I'll do maybe 2 more rows. 3 more. I may as well sit and do these, huh? And then we'll move on to the next stage of the game. Just add a couple more, and obviously if you're familiar with Peyote, this will be quite easy for you this stage. And if you're not, if anybody would like me to, put a comment in the comments below, and I would be more than happy to do a basic beginners how to do Peyote stitch, you know, with some easier beads to see, maybe slightly bigger size, maybe some 6/0s if you actually want to learn how to do Peyote stitch and as a, you know, completely from scratch, you've never tried it before. I can do that for you guys if anyone wants to. The only reason I haven't is because there's so many out there, you know, already done, which is how I learned. So, you know, I don't want to sort of bore everybody by doing a set of videos, a basic peyote stitch, basic brick stitch, this, that and then the other. But I do also try to make my videos so that beginners can follow, because I used to follow videos that weren't necessarily recommended for beginners, and that's how I learned. So I encourage beginners to do and give anything a go, as long as you've got a clear video to follow. And yeah, if anything's not clear and anyone, you know, any positive feedback is welcome. So, and yeah, anyone who wants help with any things, I'm more than happy to help with answering your questions or putting up videos for you guys to show you how to do things. You know, if anyone needs that kind of help, I'm trying to build a little community here and, you know, keep each other inspired and creative. So yeah, if anyone does want me to do a basic peyote stitch, or anyone wants me to answer any questions, give them any help, I'll be more than happy to do that. So you've got your 3 rows of peyote. Very excited about this now. So yeah, I've got my peyote done. I think that one might have one too many, hang on. Can always take a row off. And did you notice as well, I've put a stop bead on the other end of my work just to keep it tight. So if it's sitting there for a few hours or however long, you know, you might take a tea break in between, or, you know, even if you're just flat out beading, finishing your other 2, it's still a good idea to put a stop bead on the end so it doesn't go loosey-goosey. I think that's one row more on this one. So I might have to take a row off here when I put it together. But yeah, do check that you've got the exact right amount of beads, like, so that one fits. That one is 1 row of beads too many, which is no big deal. You just take off your stop bead and pull off 2 beads. It's going to be 2.